Welcome to our presentation about self-directed sport. This video will be brief but hopefully informative, lasting approximately 15 minutes. So now's maybe the time to make a cup of tea and find somewhere comfortable to sit. I'll be talking you through some slides and explaining what all of this means for you. In this video, we're going to be looking at the following: what self-directed sport or SDS is, who can access self-directed sport, eligibility criteria, the self-directed sport options, what to do if you think you're eligible for support, assessments, outcomes, sport plans and budgets, reviews and what to do when things go wrong, and finally, a brief look at more recent developments that might be of interest. Self-directed sport is about putting people in control of the support they need to live the life they choose. The origins of self-directed support can be traced back to the 1970s, when disabled people's movements campaigned for change to the way social care was provided. Disabled people wanted to have a process which would enable them to take control over their own support. It's how health and social care support has been delivered in Scotland since April 2014, when the Social Care Self-Directed Sport Scotland Act 2013 became law. This is the law that tells local authorities what they must do, what legal duties they have, to give access to SDS in a way that supports people's rights to choice, dignity, and be able to take part in the life of their communities. Duties placed on local authorities include offering and explaining the 4 SDS options, and there'll be more on those later, and make sure that supported people and their carers have a say in planning what their support looks like. The SDS Act also works alongside other laws, like the Social Work Scotland Act 1968 and, importantly for us, the Carers Scotland Act 2016, to ensure that assessments of need are made and carers' voices and needs are heard. As I mentioned earlier, self-directed support is how health and social care is delivered in Scotland, and therefore everyone can access SDS. This means disabled people, people with long-term conditions, older people, neurodiverse people, people with mental health conditions, and people with addictions. Carers too can access SDS with support being provided alongside the support for the person they care for or in their own right. All local authorities have eligibility criteria for accessing statutory support, i.e. support the local authority will fund. Some local authorities will also have separate eligibility criteria for carers. There are 4 levels in need: low, moderate, substantial and critical. Eligibility is assessed by a local authority or NHS practitioner where there's a health and social care partnership like in Edinburgh and Midlothian. This could be somebody like a social worker or occupational therapist. When needs are assessed as being substantial or critical, this means you or the person you care for will be entitled to support funded by the Health and Social Care Partnership. Please note that City of Edinburgh and Midlothian councils may fund support for those at substantial or critical risk, but if you're watching this and you or the person you care for is in a different local authority, they may only fund those at critical risk. Eligibility criteria look at the potential risk to your safety, well-being and ability to live independently. For carers, this includes the ability to maintain your caring role. For those assessed at being low or moderate risk, where there's no requirement for the Health and Social Care Partnership to fund support, they should still signpost you to community resources and organisations like Vocal that will still be able to help. If you've heard of self-directed support before watching this video, you might think that SDS is all about what are called direct payments. Direct payments are when your assessed is requiring support and are given the money to go and arrange this support yourself. But there's more to SDS than direct payments, and it's really important you know the pros and cons of the options so that you can make an informed choice about how care and support will be delivered and you get the right option for you. Next, I'm going to give a brief overview of the 4 options. There are 4 self-directed sport options, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about each of them. It's also important to know that, depending on where you live and what your needs are, some options might be less available or have waiting lists. You can speak to a health and social care practitioner or independent advice service like Vocal to find out more before making any decision. Option 1 is also known as a direct payment. You or someone on your behalf take on responsibility for both the management of your budget and the choice of services. This is known as a direct payment and it can include you employing a personal assistant or purchasing support from an organisation. It's the option that gives the most control but also gives you the most responsibility, although there's lots of support available for you too. It can also be possible to employ family members too, but there are criteria which apply to this, and it's best to seek advice before going down this route. Option 2 is sometimes referred to as an individual service fund, or ISF. Your local authority or another organisation take responsibility for financial management of your budget while you choose what service it is spent on. Option 3 is sometimes called the direct service. This is when you ask the local authority to arrange a service on your behalf, taking on all responsibility for identifying and commissioning services. Although your voice should still be heard in the process, it's sometimes considered the option offering the least flexibility. Option 4, just to keep things interesting, isn't a standalone option, it's a combination of any of the other three options. For example, you could choose a direct payment option 1 to organise care at home yourself and attend a day centre organised by a local authority under option 3. The first optional but recommended step is to get independent support before contacting your local authority. Independent advice and information can help you prepare for a possible assessment and think about what good support could look like for you. Having someone who's on your side but not directly involved in providing care and support can really help. If you're a carer, you're also entitled to an Adult Carer Support Plan, or ACSP, and Vocal can help you create this. An ACSP should be considered by the local authority when assessing needs of both a carer and the person or people they care for. Vocal have another helpful video on Adult Carer Support Plans available for you to watch. Once you feel prepared, you can contact the social work department, or a third party can make a referral on your behalf. A health and social care practitioner should be allocated to assess your needs. There's likely to be a waiting list for this, so it's a good idea to request an assessment as soon as possible. While waiting, you can also let social work know if there are any significant changes that may affect your priority. A good social care assessment should be conversational and collaborative, and the voices of the carer and cared for should be listened to. There should be opportunities to talk about what challenges you're facing as well as what's going well. You should be asked about what support would make positive changes for you, and the assessors should also come with ideas and services in mind. You're also entitled to have independent support with you at an assessment meeting and for any accessibility requirements you may have to be met. This could include having a practitioner from Vocal or another organisation present, or practical support from an interpreter or advocacy worker. It's important to make any needs you have clear when asking for the assessment. If you're assessed as being eligible for support, outcomes should be identified. Now, we don't tend to think in terms of outcomes in day-to-day life, but in this sense, an outcome is what you want to achieve and the steps or support you need to get there. For example, an outcome may be that you want to be up and ready for a busy day ahead, but to do this, you need support with getting out of bed, showered and dressed. Once you have some outcomes, you can then think about what type of support would best suit you to achieve these. This will ultimately lead to a support plan, detailing the agreed support and allocating a budget to this plan. Particularly in the case of a direct payment, when you're responsible for managing the budget yourself, it's very important to know what you can and can't afford. The support plan should also detail what you can use the money for. The Social Care Self-Directed Support Scotland Act 2013 statutory guidance says that budgets can be used to pay for anything that meets the agreed outcomes, as long as it isn't illegal. Packages of care should be reviewed regularly, but you also have the right to request a review if your needs change. You can also, at any time, choose to change the SD option you're receiving, and a health and social care practitioner can discuss alternatives with you. The process of being assessed and putting a support plan and budget in place should be collaborative, but if you don't feel the process is achieving what you need to live well, you should voice these concerns. Ultimately, you are entitled to make a formal complaint if informal routes aren't fruitful. We're coming to the end of this video. Self-directed support legislation has been in place since 2014, 10 years at the time of this video being recorded. Since then, the statutory guidance to the SDS Act was updated in 2022, and the self-directed support framework of standards continues to be updated. This framework, originally published in 2021, is designed to outline best practice for health and social care partners responsible for SDS implementation, and is also a useful reference tool for carers and cared for. The Scottish Government Support in the Right Direction Fund, managed by Inclusion Scotland, also funds organisations across Scotland, including Vocal, to provide people with advice, information and support, independent of local authorities. Self-directed support can feel like a complex topic, in as much we can't cover in detail in this video, but there are plenty of resources for advice, information and support available. This includes practical support from Vocal's carer brokerage practitioners, resources from Self-Directed Support Scotland, including an SDS handbook and Personal Assistant Employer's Handbook. There are also independent advocacy services available, including those that specifically support unpaid carers. That brings us to the end of our session today. We've covered a lot in a short period of time, but we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. If there's anything more you'd like to know, please don't hesitate to contact us via the details provided in this slide. We're here to support you every step of the way.